Welcome to Design Everest. Today in our program, we have Daniel Warren from Warren Designs. He's been working in California for so many years, and we're going to share. He's going to share his insight into what makes the housing crisis in California in the state what it is today, and then we're going to talk a little bit about COVID-19, its effect on the industry, and whatever insights he's going to share it with us. Welcome to the program, Daniel. Before we jump into these topics, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your experience?
Yes, thank you. Again, I've been practicing architecture for just over 20 years now. My experience originally started in the construction industry as a teenager, working with my grandpa, building houses and everything. And so I decided to go the design route. And the one thing that I really feel that my construction background brings is when we're in the design process, it really allows us to value engineer projects. So as we're designing it, we're able to, we know exactly how it should be built, and we're thinking that out in the design phase. And so that's one of the main things that the experience allows us to bring to the architectural side.
It's really interesting. You started with construction, so as you mentioned, it gives you a lot of insight into how it works. And one of the biggest criticism of the industry in general, not just in California or the US, all around the world, is much far behind the technology of the day. The technology is moving fast forward, changing every day, but design, architecture, and construction it doesn't look like is catching up.
Correct, and that's the thing is architecture as a whole is very behind the times as far as technology. There are a lot of people that are still doing hand-drawn plans, from beginning to end. Again, the same thing a lot of deliverables people are doing are still all 2D. The finished product that we do, turning it in and submitting it to the building departments or what the contractors build from, we're still a lot of 2D. But what we have catered our product to do is, so when we're meeting with the client and we're designing these homes, we're doing everything, 3D, allowing them to, see their house, inside out, exactly what it looked like before it's built. So as an industry, a lot of it's still catching up to that, but we've tried to be ahead of the curve on that, providing that service to our clients.
And do you think the whole change that COVID forced upon everybody nowadays, using Zooms or that kind of technology that is in every household at the moment, would that change the perspective?
Yeah, so kind of how we've adopted the change that everybody's been forced to kind of do with COVID, and we were doing a little bit of it before, but the key is for us is utilizing technology like Zoom. So now almost all of our meetings are via Zoom. If it is a remodel or something where we actually need to go see that, but again, clients are able to walk us through their house using just an iPhone or an iPad, walking through their house, showing us inside and out what they'd like to do. So we're really utilizing tools like Zoom. And so the same things that also allows us to be able to share our screen and show them and walk them through the house. And one of the services that we're providing right now that I think is kind of the biggest tool for clients is, just an unlimited 3D. So when we're designing a house, before we'd show them an inside shot, an outside shot, and okay, here's some 3D views. Now we refer to it as unlimited. We show them every corner of the house. So there's no question what this is going to look like before it gets built.
And this is the type of the change that COVID brought into the industry we're talking about. But do you think it changed the type of projects you're doing as well?
Not so much the type of project. To me, I look at it as a service that we're providing to our clients. So I do think we are picking up more clients that are more intrigued by the services, whereas they're not getting that from other clients that are a little bit further behind or somebody that doesn't have those same tools to, walk them through and do some of this stuff remote. Whereas if you're doing, all your stuff hand drawn or a lot of 2D, clients just aren't getting that visualization that, somebody might have just started sketching something right up in front of the client, sitting at their kitchen table. Whereas now we're utilizing technology and the other people, I say they're forced to do it, whereas it's something that we were already doing. So we've kind of been able to build on top of that. And again, just a better service that we're able to provide for our client.
As we mentioned before, that the pace of catching up with the technology and the trends of the day is not that quickly and fast as it should be. For example, like with different people, I interviewed a lot of people in the industry for Design Everest TV, and there has been, even before the COVID, a big gap between how the governments and officials are running their side of the projects to what the companies want to do. So there was even that kind of disparity between how technology friendly the offices are. For example, if you wanted to get a permit in certain areas, you had to go 1 day a week in person. There was no other way to submit your plan. Do you think COVID is changing that?
It definitely has. So again, the majority of almost all jurisdictions, you are able to submit remotely and electronically. So again, where it's nice is people that were doing stuff hand drawn or having to get stuff scanned before. So what that does is the back and forth between us and local jurisdiction. We've already got everything electronically, so we're uploading it. That communication from them, they're coming back. What's nice sometimes even during plan check, I had just recently where plan checker couldn't visualize something that we were trying to build on a particular project. And so with the 3D tools, I was able to send him some screenshots, and then they go, okay, now we understand what you're doing. So again, that's where the 3D side of it, even working with the jurisdiction, whereas before when they weren't doing all the remote, they would have been like, hey, can you come down and bring a detail? And so now I'm able to just via a couple emails and some screenshots show them, what we're proposing. And in that sense, I think it's kind of streamlined things and made it a little bit more efficient.
That's a really good point. And do you think what would be the effect of COVID in long term in the trends in the industry?
That's interesting, and I think we'll all kind of find that out. But one thing I have found is it has been very beneficial. For instance, I've got clients that are, before they would have waited they came back from vacation, and now I've got clients, hey, we're going out of the country or we're going to be on the other side of the state, whether it's for business or pleasure, and they're like, hey, we're going to jump on a Zoom meeting. So I think it's kind of forced people where, whether this becomes a new normal or not, I do think people like the convenience of it because, again, it's the ability of as if we're just sitting there when I can share my screen to show them, every aspect of the project. And they're like, okay, what's the landscaping look like? And so we can take them outside. So I think moving forward, I do think it's something that people are growing accustomed to. They like the ability to, the wife can be at home and the husband can, be somewhere else traveling, and they can both jump on a Zoom meeting and all of us can be there and be present to do the same thing. Whereas before, those were delays where it's like, okay, somebody's gone, we'd have to wait till they're all, and this allows everybody to kind of be there. So I think this has forced it to almost, in our industry, I really see on the design side, this is a much more productive tool with so many working families. I get half my clients are at work jumping on a meeting. Husband and wife are both at their office, and we're all doing a Zoom meeting. So it's become a very beneficial tool.
Lovely. And as far as I know, Design Everest is one of those few companies, if I'm not mistaken, in the whole US that does teleconstruction, which is basically trying to do designing and the permit part of it and the architecture part of it, all done remotely. So there's no relation to, the face-to-face conversation or things like that are not, they're quite limited at the moment. Thank you so much, Daniel Warren from Warren Designs, and thanks to you who watched this program, and thanks to Designers and the team behind this short program for making this happen. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Audio